Hello, Erica.
Hi, Patrick. How are
Fine,
you?
nice to see you again, despite the distance
Yes,
and
it's
the situation.
yeah, it's really nice. I know I missed you this summer when we were supposed to get together and do more courses and stuff. So it's nice that we can take this time.
Exactly. So,
Good. Well, I wanted to spend some time with you, Patrick, to sort of refresh and talk about some of these things around facial reflexology, around the school, around Chan beauté, some of these things that we've been hearing in social media, and just maybe going over facial reflexology, some of perhaps the misconceptions about what it is, what it isn't.
mm,
So I know we've kind of all been hearing about facial
mm,
reflexology. Um, and so and then we have Dien Chen. So maybe you can clarify a little bit for
sure.
us some of those
Yes.
differences.
Well, in fact, all the facial reflexology method or techniques that we see or we hear about are all based on Dien Chan. The Dien Chan is the Vietnamese name of the technique that has been discovered by Professor Cho in Vietnam in the 80s, right? And he started discovering a method before he started discovering some points on the face. He was at this epoch still working with needles. Now we are not using them anymore. And thanks to those points and this map, he managed to build some diagrams of reflection. Okay, so then it arrives in Western world, and many people with have been seeing this as like if it was a bit complicated, which is not. In fact, it's complex, but it is not so complicated, and start making some reduction and forget the dimension of multireflexology. So the real word to describe this technique instead of facial reflexology, it's to talk about multireflexology, Dien Chan, to keep the original name. Why multireflexology? Because we have several diagrams of reflection. You know that in the foot we know one diagram, in the hand there is one diagram, and there are also many techniques. But in Dien Chan we use many diagrams, nearly 24, 28, depending on on the level we have, and we can combine them, and we are going to use zones on the face to stimulate those zones, but changing diagrams. And we don't forget the points, we also use them to consolidate the treatment. But so a facial reflexology that is showing a map of bits and pieces and with no coherence between the position of the anatomy and the organs, it's okay, it's nice to do well-being, but it's just a reduction. And it's a shame because without the knowledge of the real technique, you cannot become a care designer. You cannot personalize and really make something more adapted to your clientele. It's much more difficult because you just have to apply things that you learn. And so if you see a map that they say that the liver is here, why and where is the gallbladder, next to it or in the somewhere different? So it's very important to learn the real diagrams, and then everybody is going to be able to personalize, to make it its own, to but learning the roots, the basis.
Yeah, I think it's so important for us to get that concept. And just talking about reflexology in general, in terms of the core principles of how, we even came about calling it facial reflexology, is this idea that there is a microcosm,
Mm.
that there is a reflection. If we look at nature, if we look at the cosmos, if we look at all of those things, it's all connected. And we have iridology, we have the auricular therapy. We
Mm-hmm.
see all of these mini maps of a bigger map. It's kind
Exactly.
of like that doll type of idea that there's this
The
constant
Russian doll, yeah.
communication going on.
The
Yeah.
babushka.
And so that's the idea of being able to interpret these maps that we have on the face that allow us to let us know what's going on in both the bigger picture and the smaller picture.
Exactly. All in one and one is all. This is the concept.
Exactly.
And so Dien Chan is very taking this idea because Professor Cho, at the beginning, how did he discover all those points on the face? because he mixed many knowledges. He mixed the reading of the I Ching, the mutation book. He remixed many popular knowledge from the Vietnamese health knowledge. He mixed a lot of Chinese medicine knowledge, but also he was studying anatomy, and also some diagrams came thanks to the work of a neurosurgeon, a Canadian one, Dr. Penfield. So you see, it's not a technique that is only reflexology. I press here and I do this. No, it's a combination of many things, like you said. So all those points, if you've seen, people have seen the map. In fact, they are describing many constellations that are drawing each diagram. So it looks very complex when we look at the map, but if we start by learning the diagrams, then it's not so confusing, because we will know where are many zones and what do they refer to. Mm-hmm.
And I would think that, when people are contemplating, because especially now when, everything is online and everybody can be an expert and everybody, what would you say is the difference between becoming what you say as a care designer, but yet also feeling confident that you can fulfill a protocol? There's this gap between having confidence that we can do something versus evolving out of it to be a master of our own.
Yeah, first, one point very important is to check that you are learning with someone that is not isolated. It's not someone that just read a book or follow a course. It's important to take a teacher that is from a team that has been trained and is still exchanging and sharing worries, questions, solutions. So this is the case of the school, is that we are always in contact, and even now, thanks to new technologies, we can be in contact thanks to the internet, because in fact we have teachers in Belgium, in Switzerland, in France, in Spain, in Canada, and the
Caribbean and down in even Brazil you have teachers.
Yes, we have Kent in Brazil, we have Hugo in Uruguay, in South America, and so we are always in contact because we have new solutions, new ideas, new questions, some things that we forget, or it's always very important to check that the people that are teaching something in anything, not only in Dien Chan, have been teaching for a long time and also have been publishing. It's part of a team. So like this, you won't have this type of course that they tell you, this is the protocol you have to apply and this is it. No, because there is no medicine good for everybody. It depends. We always have to adapt. And it's like, it doesn't exist, the industrial solution for everybody. We can see this time we are living that there is a big war in this. So it's just a money problem. So in fact, in natural therapy, we are lucky. We can really adapt what we are doing to the person. And also, this is why it's important to learn the roots and the grammar, or the musical grammar, if you want, of the technique, because like this you will understand exactly what you do, and thanks to this you will be able to be inspired. At the end, with practice and enough modules followed, you will be able to use all the material you learn, the book, the apps, whatever, to inspire you. At the beginning, obviously, you have to follow what you learn, but knowing what you are doing, not like a robot, it becomes inspiration. I mean, it's very simple. All the photographers, the painters, the sculptors, all artists go to exhibitions. They don't go to copy. You don't go to an exhibition to copy. You go to an exhibition to inspire. You buy a book of art to get inspiration, not to copy. And because it makes your brain work, it opens your mind. So at the beginning, you learn a technique, and then all you've learned, it's becoming a spring of inspiration. And this is our goal in the school, and you've seen this all during those years, that many of our students are doing Dien Chan or Chan beauté. They are practicing their own way, but they are not wrong, because they adapted to their own clientele.
Great. I think it's so important for us to understand, because a lot of our followers out there have really only taken the module 1, and a lot of them have probably felt, like they're not sure where to go, they're not sure how to move forward, and what to study and where to study. And So I know that you've got some really great resources for people to be able to advance
Let me say,
their learning and to feel comfortable.
yes, but just before, just to talk about the experience I had and many other students had, but you know, I've been working with Professor Cho during 10 years. At the beginning, when the first time I met him, it's a long story, I'm not, you know it, I will tell the student another day, but I thought, like all the Western people, that the points were the main thing. And all the students were asking for points and formulas. And well, it was quite normal for me because the drawing, the diagrams of reflection looks a bit childy, no? And little by little, 10 years teaching with him, many countries, I understood that in fact we had to do the exactly reversed work that he did in the discovery. He discovered the point, and from the points he managed to make the diagrams of reflection, right? We have to start, like you said in module 1, the Dien Chan reflex, we have to start to learn the diagrams. Then we will understand much easier the points. What does that mean? It means that with the diagrams, with one diagram, we are doing only facial reflexology. With more than one diagrams, we are already practicing multireflexology. So then, if we find some good formulas in the book, in the app, in all the resources we are offering the students, of course you can apply them. But don't worry. On the next module, you will learn completely how to use also the map. Even if you didn't course the second module, you can apply. But then you are just applying a formula without knowing. But then you will learn how to adapt this formula, how to build a more adapted formula, in what way to do it from top to down, from down to top, to what sense, in what sort of stimulation you are using the formula. Are you using the detector always? No, it depends. Are you using the little hammer? Yes, maybe. What side, yin or yang? You have to know more about the issue, how it is described, and all this. It's time and practice. But if you already know well the diagrams of reflection at the beginning, and you are already playing with them, you are practicing multireflexology. And then, when you are also adding, because one thing is not better than the other, it depends. When you are also adding to complement your treatment the points and some formulas, then you will construct, you will build, you will design a completely adapted, personalized care. So it's practice and learning in a chronological way. Does that
Yeah, I know for
answer?
myself that it probably took me a good 3 to 4 years of constantly asking you questions and investigating. And you should see the pages in my book are falling apart. So
Yeah,
it
I
really took
remember.
me a good 3 years of intense study to feel comfortable and confident moving forward with it. So I think for those people, it's important for them if you're feeling like you've taken this one course and you're feeling a little bit lost. How many times have you reached out? How many times have you taken the initiative to understand and to learn and to further your knowledge and to play and to experiment? Because we all feel a little bit like that, especially with the freedom that we get learning Dien Chan through the ISMDC,
Mm.
learning some of those fundamentals in terms of proper stimulation techniques
Mm-hmm.
and more of the things that will help you expand who you are versus, well, I'm taught to do this one protocol and then
Yeah,
I
and to
am
practice,
lost when I don't get the results that I'm looking for.
because to practice Dien Chan is much more than just to roll zones on the face. It's much more. It's also to learn to listen. To listen,
I was just gonna say,
right. It's just,
like, the reason why I think it's so important to go from the reflex and move forward is because when you get fixated on points, you detach your brain from the
exactly.
other senses.
Mm,
If you want to think about medicine, if you want to think about that real quality, you use your senses, you
mm,
observe,
mm.
you touch, you listen, right? There's many touching and feeling this. Use all
To
of your
see.
senses, observe the face, observe the body,
And the
observe
person is
the
not going,
stature.
the person is not going to come in the same, exactly same situation between one session and the other. He can have the same issue. Okay, it's just the name of a trouble. But, sorry, but it's also can be in a yin situation the first time, or very stressed, or very tired, and the next time he still have the knee pain, for example, he came from, but in a completely different state. That's why also we have to learn to take care of the general state first of the person, to open everything. Some will say to open the chakra, we will say just to better the movements of the energy, of the fluids. The general state is first very important. And then also we learn to listen to translate everything that our patient is going to say. We have to learn to translate them into gestures, into stimulation, into care. And we don't stay only on the care on the face, of course not. In fact, we also treat the body. That's why we have body tools to be able, and most of the time we have very good results when we start on the body, because if it's an issue or pain located on a part of the body. But when we first take care of the general state, then we start stimulating in a yin or yang tool the body part. Then we use the reflect zone of this body part on the face, thanks to our several diagrams of reflection. Then we complement with a formula. For example, if it was a muscle problem or a pain, a ligament, a tendon, whatever, we will use some formula more adapted. And then we can finish the session completely. So we are lucky, and this is also something that we always explain to the student, that in Vietnam, if you are lucky to be able to go and visit Professor Cho in his clinic in Vietnam, it's very fast. They only treat during 5 minutes, 10 minutes maximum. Why? Because they teach them what to do with the tools at home, but also because the patients can come immediately in the afternoon, the day after, every day, during several sessions. We cannot. In the Western world, there is a price, and people also appreciate the time you spend with them. So it's a good thing for us, because thanks to this time, we are not just going to do a few things and tell them, roll yourself. No, no. We are going to take care of the general state and all those parts of the treatment. And we have time, because in 40 minutes, we have time to do all this. And also, we can teach them to use a tool, a simple tool, not the points, no, a roller that is adapted to their condition, for them to continue between sessions, to boost what we call the chi, or the vital energy. Like this, on the next one, when they come back, the professional will be able to go further, deeper, and not start again from zero. So
I know I've had this happen quite a few times, and I can tell the person who has been doing their rolling and taking their care, because they move much faster. I get results much faster.
Exactly.
And it's so important and valuable to be able to take that concept and move them through. And I think one thing we definitely need to touch on is through the consultation, and what I have loved about having Dien Chan, a part of my whole practice, is this testing and looking for the improvement levels, throughout the treatment, in order to gauge, was this an appropriate thing? And what I love about Dien Chan is how fast the results. I can tell based upon 15 seconds of something, and ask them, do you feel something? Are you feeling a difference? Yeah. If I get about 20% improvement off of these one small gestures, I know I'm thinking in the right way.
Exactly.
But if I do my whole entire treatment and then go, oh, well, I hope you're better.
Exactly. This is what Professor Cho was.
You don't know what you've done. So this idea of being able to check and verify your work has been
very important. The communication.
And it's very scientific. That is a very scientific and very science-driven way of working.
Very good in an emotion way, because like this, the patient knows that you are very into and not thinking in something else. You are very aware of what you are doing. They feel the contact. So they are not going to tell you lies. They are going to tell you really. And this thing about marking the improvement, it's something very important we should explain to our viewers. We prefer in Dien Chan to mark the improvement and not the pain. I know it's typical to say, what is your pain? But we really think that what is a very painful? Maybe for you it's just a mosquito, and for me it needs to be an elephant. So it doesn't mean anything. I'm nobody to judge your pain. So I don't need to know what is your pain. I prefer to know what is the level of your improvement. How do you feel better? Out of 10. And also, so it's all very important to use these percentages or out of 10, because in many culture or language, some people will tell you, oh, I feel much better. And for you, maybe to feel much better, it's an improvement of 8 or 9 out of 10. And when you ask them to put a mark, suddenly it's a 6. So it's not much better for you, but it's much better for them. So that's why, okay, it's much better. But how much out of 10? And if they understand very fast, in any language, in any country, I can, trust me, I've done the test from Vietnam to Canada, going all through Europe. They understand very fast when you explain, give me a note on what is the improvement. And when they say 6, or what, like you said, when they improve 20%, 30%, it's very important for us, because it means that the door is open. And this reminds me that Professor Cho was often telling me, I'm the key master, so I've got a bunch of keys. You've got many doors. Find the key that opened the door. So what are the doors? Techniques of rolling, pressing with all our multi-reflex tools. There are the diagrams, there are the points, there are many things that in Dien Chan, when we combine them, it's exponential. It's exponential. So we have many keys, we have to find the door open. And asking for the improvement, we really know if we are on the right way, so we can decide to change the diagram or to change the stimulation tool, but not everything at the same time. If not, we get a bit lost and we don't know what we've done. Let's be a bit rigorous. But this is a very good way to go fast. And when it's a problem like a pain that the person can appreciate on the moment, when it's a chronic disease, you have to make a bet and check session by session. But when it's a pain or a lack of movement or problem in them, it's so nice to see this improvement and to know that, yes, we are on the right way. And if it's okay, it's working, give them the tool, sell them the tool, they will continue the exercise, at least the body part, at home. And like this, when they come back, you will be able to continue deeper and more in depth.
No, I think it's a great example. I had a gentleman come to me with a interesting symptom. He came to me with a burning tongue. It was his major concern, even though he had had some back problems and some other things. His major concern was that he had this burning tongue, and it was just constant all the time. So I listened to where he was sensitive internally, externally. I listened to all of these things, and as I was working in through some of the diagrams that go to the tongue and the cranial nerves, and just being able to, you know, even relate some of his symptoms together and to critically think, I was able to improve him to 60% on R1 treatment, which for him was outstanding. Yes, outstanding. A lot. Yeah. And we're talking about a gentleman who is corporate real estate. You know, he's kind of a little bit into the energy of things, but not really. So but he felt the improvement. I had quantified it for him. And so the decision to go home with a tool that he could see was beneficial, I wasn't selling him a tool.
No.
He was wanting a solution.
Of course. Yeah.
So when you involve your clients and you can give them that sense of improvement, they do, like you said, they want to become more a part of.
Yeah.
And it also validates for them, because we've been living in this society of victim mentality. You don't have control over your health anymore. You know, like, this is the idea, and which is such a shame.
Such a shame.
Such a shame. And you know, so we have to kind of start building this intuition again, and this self-love again, which we've seen sort of that movement coming through. But it's very cool when people start to believe in themselves again and their
The
capabilities to
patient has
heal.
to be part of the solution. And but we are lucky because normally people that are interested in natural therapy and like come and visit us are people that are open-minded and they don't want to be passive and hear, hey doctor, look, this is my disease, take it, I go to the bar. No, there are people that normally are really, and if they are not interested, okay, just do your work and it's well-being for them and that's it. Now the majority that are interested in what you're doing, and this is what is nice also in Dien Chan, it's because you can show the diagrams, you can show on the mini book, on the poster, whatever, and say, look, you see, we have our head here and our neck and our arms. Oh, I didn't know. Oh yes, it's interesting. It's always very nice to see that people are aware of this and they learn. And when it's a problem, for example, I remember a woman, she was having some problems in the hands. I showed her that we had a good solution. Of course, it's because it works. So the articulation was very painful, and it works rolling here on the hands of the Mr. Yang, or the red man we call him. And she said immediately, she said, well, I want this tool. May I do it myself? Of course, you don't need to be a surgeon to do this. So she bought it because she preferred the Ying one because it was some burning joint, right? Burning joint in the hands. She was also working in the kitchen, in a restaurant. So it's quite typical. So rolling on hands, it was very pleasant and okay, relieving the pain very fast, but coming back. But rolling here on the reflex zone of the hands, on the temples, it was lasting much longer. Okay, so it was taking this heat out of all the energy system. So that was enough. It was enough. And you don't lose the patient when it's like first, because if they're okay, this is what we wish, they don't have to come back. But because they talk well about the therapist. It's like the dentist. You don't go to the dentist to go to the dentist. But when you are happy with the dentist, you can recommend him.
Yeah.
And the day you have another problem, you go to the same one. So it's good to teach things. It's good to teach things. And the dentist teach you to brush your teeth. Okay, so we have to teach also if they are interested. We don't have to force. All right?
Um, that's very good. I think let's talk a little bit about another misconception
Mm-hmm.
that we hear a lot is that Dien Chen comes from Chinese medicine.
Right, yeah.
I think we kind of hear this and we see that he was an acupuncturist, so
Yeah.
we assume that all he was interested in is Chinese medicine, and we have these assumptions about it. Can you maybe let us know a little bit more about
Yes.
why we're so passionate about it not necessarily being Chinese medicine?
Exactly. It's not. Dien Chan is not Chinese medicine, and in fact, Dien Chan is not a medicine. It's a technique. We call it a method, a technique. It means that it's like, I like to make this musical metaphor always. It's an instrument. On an instrument like the piano, for example, nobody can tell you that a piano is made to play Beethoven. No, you can play whatever you like on a piano. You just have to learn music. But Dien Chan is the same. More knowledge you have in Chinese medicine, in Western medicine, Ayurveda, whatever you know, and you can translate them into movements, into gesture, into stimulation on the face, Dien Chan is perfect. It's not limited. So of course we use a lot of things, a lot of knowledge from the Chinese medicine. Why? Because it's very interesting. It works. Professor Cho at the beginning was an acupuncturist. He studied Chinese medicine. Of course, he's from Vietnam, and there at this time, this is what he was studying. And also, he did study this for him because he was very weak, and a long story. But he had a worry, and his main worry was how did they discover the point on the meridians and the meridians? He never found a very clear answer. So he started investigating, and he found one answer. Maybe not the only one, but one answer. And the main answer, it's very important in Dien Chan because it's the fruit of all this. It's the combination of many knowledge. So all the knowledge he had in Chinese medicine, but also all the philosophical knowledge he had, also all the popular knowledge in popular medicine in Vietnam, also studying linguistic, the meaning of the words, many things combined help him to find points on the face, and the similitude of shape was also main one. So, of course, the only medicine he had at the beginning to play on was the Chinese medicine and the popular medicine. But then he was already a very good acupuncturist. He starts studying anatomy. And I remember still when he was with me since 2002 in France or in Barcelona, he wanted all the time to buy books of anatomy and of about Western medicine. His son Wim Tam had did the medical study of both medicine, Western and Chinese together. So why? Because more you know. Let's take an example. For example, skin disease. It's a good example maybe to illustrate. You know, skin disease in Western medicine, it's related to nervous system most of the time. And when it's not a fung or whatever, it's nervous system. If you take an eczema or if you take a psoriasis or if you take, most of the time we treat the nervous system in Western medicine, right? In Chinese medicine, the skin disease are related to what they call the metal element, which is composed by two energy, the lungs energy and the large intestine energy. Okay, this is the metal element. So in Dien Chan, if you don't know any idea from the Western medicine, you will do only lungs and large intestine. Maybe it works. Maybe, if it's related to this. If you are a doctor and you only know Western medicine, you will start treating the nervous system for the skin issue in Dien Chan. But when you know both of those knowledges, you make a treatment that combines. And here is when we have amazing results. And this is the evidence that nobody is wrong, that everybody is right, but they combine. And the strength of the two, it might be related with nervous system, but also maybe it has damaged the metal energy, right? Maybe, in fact, it's the large intestine that is not doing his job well, so that's why I have an issue on the skin. But maybe it's also my nerves or my stress, but we don't care. Because thanks to all those knowledge combined, we can make very simple, without damaging the skin, without any problem, a treatment on the face, teach it also to the person. Most of the time we teach them to do with a little hammer, the nervous system points. But in the treatment room, you will do the raking to calm down, then the nervous system with all those points we know so well. And then we will treat also the lungs. We will look for the most sensitive points of the lungs that not necessarily are number 3 or 61, but most of the time. But it can be something different. And also we are going to look for the large intestine points. And we are combining and we are keeping the most sensitive points from this combination, and this is the personalized protocol for this person. And we see, in the case of a skin disease, we have to check in several sessions to see, but it's quite fast. It can be very fast. And so this is a good illustration of that. When we combine knowledge, we have a good result. And of course, if you know about nutrition, you give advice of what they eat. I mean,
Well, I think it's about, sorry, I actually had a garbage truck in the neighborhood, so I wanted to minimize his noise. But I think that's why it's so important to have a full rounded, I look at, I know some energy work, I know some nutrition. So being able to even think about that with an anatomy and a physiology way, and I just input it into some of the formulas that I have about, okay, well, I want to help the red blood cells, so I'm going to look at the spleen, but then looking at the spleen and the energy of the spleen and the emotions of the spleen. And so it really is this whole full rounded approach, and whatever knowledge base you have in any of those, being able to connect it with Dien Chan is so cool. And I just want to take this moment, if you haven't realized, that Patryck is amazing. Not only has he become such a really great friend of mine, but he is the president of the International School of Multireflexology, Dien Chan. He's had this organization since 2002 and has really done a good job of building a team of people who are passionate about sharing the message, the authentic and original message from Professor Cho. And really, this, the message that you've shared with me and that I've really held is sometimes people will want to focus on one type of medicine. So it's been with great honor that you have really instilled in all of us to make sure that we keep that combination and then we keep true while still investigating and while still learning. But Patryck, you are probably one of the most generous people that I've come to meet, and
Thank you.
one of the people that I can rely on for extreme integrity.
Yeah.
We have so many honest exchanges,
Yeah.
and I can only imagine that you do that with everyone that you come in contact with, and I can trust you to tell me the truth regardless.
Mm.
So it's become a fun relationship where we can explore and examine. And after you working with Professor Cho over a decade and constantly being in contact with him and writing these beautiful books that we have available,
Yes.
you translate everything. You've got it in English and Spanish and French, and nobody even is really comprehending.
This one is the French one. It's a bestseller here, and I offer all the royalties to Professor Cho to thank him for all those years of sharing and knowledge and teaching with him. So this one is only, and this is the English version. It's a bit newer because this one was published in 2009 in Paris, and this one. It's important to know that Erica did the editing of this new version, so it's much better, the English version. And so it was so good that we have also in Spanish this new version in English and also in Spanish if you are from South America and or Spain. And so yeah, thank you to Erica, because it was my English is not so good, so it was a bit dodgy translating sometimes.
Well, it was fun. There were lots of laughing moments in class sometimes, in being able to do some translation.
Mm.
And what I've been really loving is, because I obviously come authentically from more of a therapeutic
Yes.
background, is being able to introduce this concept of Dien Chan, but also this Chan beauté aspect of things. So
Yes.
now, whether you're a therapist or an esthetician or into more of those types of things.
But Madam, let me introduce you, because you introduced me, and it's true that we are so passionate that we start directly the meeting, but you didn't let me introduce you. So in fact, it's
Oh,
important for the people to know that I met Erica Weiland many years ago already. It was in Winnipeg. You remember, in this so flat country in the middle of Canada, and I was invited to teach a course, and Erica was already a foot reflexology instructor, a member of the RAC National Board of Director, the Reflexology Association of Canada, and we had an immediate connection, and he was so enthusiastic with the Dien Chan. I was completely astonished. I mean, the students are always very happy, but we connect really. And after the course, I went back to Barcelona, and we continue being in contact. It was 3-4 times a month at least. You were, thanks to Skype, and despite the distance, we were always in contact, and you destroyed your book with questions and practicing. You were already applying everything you've learned in the course in your consultation room with your patients. I remember. And so Erica was very involved also, and as an assistant, because she invited me every summer to come back to Canada, and I was teaching, she was assisting me, and she became a Dien Chan expert very, very, very fast. So she continued organizing courses in the USA. We've been to many places together. Remember, San Francisco was a good fun also. And in Canada,
and Vegas,
we
We
went down to Vegas. I thought I will never go there in my life, and you managed to pull me there. It was so funny. We had a good fun, it's true. It was a very nice trade show we did in Las Vegas. And so, yes, every year we met and we are constantly in contact. And the European team, I have to tell you, Erica, the European team is so proud to count on you for all North America, because you know that my French and Spanish colleague are a bit shy, and their English is not so good, so they are not going to English speaking places. And so it's so cool to count on you for Canada and Australia and USA. Okay, so we're very proud. And so please contact Erica when you want to learn the original method of Dien Chan. I don't know if I forgot anything. Well, and also thanks to her, you can also acquire and buy the tools, the Multireflex tools, from North America, which is much cheaper, no customs, cheaper shipping fees. So it's important to contact anyway. When some North American contact me, I tell them check in the multireflex.store if it's not faster and easier for you. Okay.
Well, it's so amazing to have such great friends, and I'm lucky to be a part of the Dien Chan family and helping to recruit others.
Yes, 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 yes. This is the purpose. We have to continue this hard work to really be sure that Dien Chan is not going to fall into the little therapies. Because, I mean, regarding the question you were asking just before, it's a bit normal also that it's not a big mistake for people to think Dien Chan is Chinese medicine but with rollers and detectors. No, because the majority of natural therapy are in fact inspired only by Chinese medicine.
Mhm.
So it's a bit normal that people think this, and also because it's Vietnamese and things like this. But no, it's very important for everybody to understand that it's not only this. It's interesting. If you really don't like Chinese medicine, don't worry. You can practice Dien Chan. I had some doctors, some Western doctors, students, and they were not at all interested into meridians, and perfect. They are having amazing results. For example, dentists and doctors that have been learning medicine know very well the cranial nerves. So normally for people that didn't do medicine, it's something a bit more complex, and it's better to have the book next to you. But for people who have been studying medicine and anatomy and all the functions of the organs, it's much easier. So they take this side of Dien Chan. And some acupuncturists, they want to stay at the beginning, then they change. And they say, okay, I will put a needle in each point. Well, there is no point to do this. Depends. I mean, it's not, you don't have to think that the needle is better than the detector. When I talk about the detector, I mean, I will show the people, it's something that is acupressure. Okay, it's not damaging the skin. So many acupuncturists at the beginning think, okay, the needle is stronger than this. No. Or this is stronger than the roller. No. It depends. I remember one case. It was so funny because it was one of your patients. I think it was in Calgary. A guy. You remember this guy that I thought, well, it was the end of the afternoon. We've been treating many people in the class, and he came and he had some issue in the shoulder. I think I remember.
Mm.
So immediately I was a bit tired and I wanted to go for a beer. And so I start here, and he was complaining a lot. So suddenly I stopped and I said, you see, when you forget the patient, you are not good. And I thought it's strange because it's sensitive, but so sensitive. So, okay, stop. You remember this guy? I stopped and I said, okay, let's see. He's very sensitive, but I want to continue on this path. Maybe I will change diagram later, but now I want to continue. So I took the roller and I just did this on the same part, which is representing the shoulders here. And he feel much better very fast. So it depends. There is no better tool. There is no better technique, better diagram, better. No, it depends. It's exactly what you said before, that we have to always take this emotional part also, the general state, and we combine pieces. Not, I have back pain. Yes, but why? Did you carry a piano? Or are you fed up of your rucksack of so many things from your family? It can be still a back pain. Okay? I have a issue in the stomach. Maybe you did eat something very bad. yesterday. No, no, no. I'm eating very properly. Ah, maybe it's something that you are not digesting. So it's still a stomach ache. But if we don't talk and we don't listen, it's still a stomach ache. So we won't have good result. When we listen to this, we can treat then. Okay, we can test the stomach and things like that, but in a different way. Like you said, the spleen before, maybe there's someone that's very anxious or very worried, so they have some acidity. This summer, I managed to do a course despite the quarantine, no, you call it in English. Anyway, it was in the Alps, so it was fresh air in Switzerland there, and I'd had some students with big acidity problems, and they were not eating badly. It was correct food and not drinking or not eating acidity. No, and it was because of this. Then she started talking. When I did a general treatment, and I rake, I treat also the nervous system. She started explaining us many things about the husband, about the kids, about the you understand? So, when she's talking, I translate into ideas to do things. And wow, we relax, and then the treatment of the stomach works very well. But at the beginning, no.
Well, I think that brings us to a good point about even talking about Dien Chan. And what does Dien Chan, what does that literally translate to
Yes.
in that it gives us power?
The word Dien Chan, the complete name in Vietnamese is Dien Chan Dieu Kien Le Phap, with a better pronunciation in Vietnamese, obviously. But in Vietnamese, it's a language that you compose words with many little words. So Dien is surface and face, if you want. Surface and face, all right? In our case, it's more face. Chan is this so strong concept that we use. This is why we have the Chan beauté for beauty using Dien Chan. We have a Chan formula that are all those formula that we learn to compose and this. Because Chan means diagnostic and treatment at the same time. It's very difficult to understand in the Western world at the beginning because we are used to first explain what we have and then they treat us with a different thing. But in fact, in Dien Chan, when we do Chan, what we are doing, if I press here and it's painful and nobody told me anything, I'm diagnosing that maybe the liver has something. But at the same time, I am treating because I'm stimulating the liver. So the same technique, it's good to do facial diagnostic, and also to treat. So this is the Chan concept. And then the other words, Dieu means cybernetic, because Professor Cho likes to call it cybernetic at the beginning because you have many switch on the face that do things. And Liefab means therapy. So the complete name is cybernetic therapy of the face, diagnostic and treatment cybernetic therapy of the face, if you want, depending how you put the words. So then everybody's calling it Dien Chan, the short name.
Or facial reflexology, as
But
we've
facial
come to know.
reflexology, unfortunately, is not very correct because it's much more than facial
Exactly.
reflexology. Much more, much more.
Yeah. Well, and I think even for reflexology people, reflexology is confusing as well. And really just coming back to that idea that really it's this study of reflections. So there can be many types that fall under that category, and needing to be able to study that microcosm and the macrocosm type of concept. So,
Yes.
well, fantastic. So we're offering courses in English, we're offering courses in French and in Spanish. It's so fun that we have all of those languages available. And so we would direct you. I know we're working on some things, Patryck, a kind of a new website and being able to we've been really welcomed into the space, because typically before, this course was really only offered to people who were already sort of experienced in the field. There weren't very many new or fresh people to this idea, and we've been really welcomed into North America. So now we kind of have to you know deliver it in a good way. So it's been really nice to be invited into lots of different avenues, like aesthetics and like makeup artists, and a lot of those people
Yes.
who observe the face on a regular basis
Mm.
are really wanting to be able to help their clients with the, skin disorders and
Exactly.
even emotional things. So we're excited to be revamping and to be bringing some lovely things out to you guys.
Yes, we can also illustrate the idea of the Chan beauté just to say a few words, because this is our discovering. When was in 2006 we start with some big esthetician in Spain at the beginning to develop this technique that now it's very copied. But in fact, it's good to know the real Chan beauté. What is it? It's to use the knowledge in Dien Chan for aesthetic purposes and wellness also. So it's important to understand that every imperfection that is on the face has an origin. Of course, we have wrinkles when we get old, but some wrinkles are much more deep or not so natural. We have marks, we have warts, we have protrusion, many things that appear, right? And Chan beauté is so effective because we don't only treat the wrinkle. No, we also look for the origin thanks to the diagrams, and we complement with some formula. Yes, and let me illustrate this concept of Chan beauté to reach the origin with the app we have and we use, that is full of practical. I will show you a bit later. Let's use, for example, the step-by-step of Venus. In this section of the app, we have, for example, for wrinkles, the face of Venus, and we can choose a general type of wrinkle. Let's use, for example, the lion wrinkle here between the eyebrow, or the frown line wrinkle, or the wrinkle 11, I think you call it also. And we can see, well, there is a little explanation here and little text, the tools that are recommended, and the first step here you can see it's called the yang step. Okay, so we have the advice to use this tool and the yang termination of the tool on the area at least for 2 minutes. Okay, if we know a bit more about points and zones, we can also increase the effect of the yang effect of this first step with the stimulation of those points with the little hammer or the detector, if we know. Okay, then we can see that the second step, in this case of wrinkles, is always the same. It's the yin step, okay, to distribute all the nutrients that we moved to the surface thanks to the first step. Okay, the same, we have the advice of the tools that you can use to realize this step, and also always a little formula to increase the yin effect. In this case, we are using the natural moisturing of the body with those points. Okay, and then this is the strength of Chan beauté. It's to reach this third step in this case, that is helping you to ask the questions. Okay, so for example, if we really think that those wrinkles are a bit exaggerated, that they shouldn't be so marked, so we can think about tension in the neck, in the nape, okay, in the shoulders, or we can think also about hormonal disorder. Let's take the first proposal and we'll see why. Okay, immediately the app shows you the diagram it's thinking about for this wrinkle. Here you have the legend, and if you click it, disappear. And you see that here in between the eyebrows you have all this zone, this scapular guild, that is the shoulder, the neck. So normally people with those deep wrinkle here are suffering of tensions in this part of the body. So here we have an explanation to help you to deal with this, also the appropriate tools, and obviously some formula that can complement your treatment to relax the muscles, right, to release this pain. So this is the example of how Chan beauté it's dealing with the root of the problem, right? And if we press to this menu, we have also these many solutions for scars, okay, depending if it's a recent one, an old one. We have solutions for moles, okay, and so each time you will be able to follow the steps. Here in this case also we have 4 steps, right, to be able to ask questions also, all right, and to check where is located the mole, and check, thanks to this diagram, if we are if it's the expression of a disorder or an imbalance of one of the organs, right? So in this app we have many solutions. Here we were just in the venous step by step, but we'll see also how we can follow protocols, all right, and look for a protocol that is adapted to the situation we want to deal with. And when we press, we have all the steps of each all the steps of the protocol to follow. Let's check also the practical treatments. Like this I can show you. Practical treatments, if we are in a horizontal like this, we have also, we can look for something. For example, if I look for the eyes, or I don't know, anything else, I can check, and the app will show me all the protocols that are related to the eyes, okay? So for example, if I want to treat the dark circle or the bags under the eyes, I have also a summary. Here in the horizontal side, you have a very practical way to work, okay? So here you have what is happening, you have the objective, how to do it in a professional way, and the advice, okay? And always the tools that are recommended. But if we turn the iPad in vertical, so you will see that in the practical treatments, you see the same treatment is changing. So if I come back to practical treatment, I have always explanation, right, be more detailed, and also personal advice, okay, what it means, right? And you can also access the special part of the tool, and also like this you can go to the general file of the tool to know where you can use this tool in other protocols, in other situations, okay? You always have access directly to the tools if you prefer. If you, for example, have this tool, this mini rake like this, you have all the practical treatment that are using this tool, and also all the protocols that are using this tool, all right? And also, well, there are many things we are not going to go too deep. You have all the formulas if you want to access them directly, but also you have to know that, so here you have them. You also have all the diagrams if you need to study a bit more, okay? And you can study the diagrams like this, make PDFs, and many things like this. I'll let you in the description the links to discover more about the app. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, I think, that's just, Patryck, you've just done such a stellar job at the applications. Of course, if you don't know, Patryck comes from more of a computer science background. So he is the one that has developed these apps. He spent years collecting information and data and trying different things. So he just is such a giving person, wanting to be able to give so many things. And I think one thing that I want the listeners to know is that even though you see a certain price tag against these, if you were to see this out in general life, these tools would be six, seven, $1,000. So take full advantage of the generosity. There's different versions of app in the App Store. Yeah, it's just so phenomenal to be able to look through and pick the anatomy. And it's been such a spring of inspiration to be able to use these. And, you know, we do have to clarify, Patryck, in terms of what this app is and versus what this app is not. Yeah. We on my school, the reflexology.school, you can see the interview that Patryck and I did in terms of all the applications, how to use them and everything like that. So because of course it's a little bit of its own course. So just want to say thank you for there's nothing like this in the industry. Nothing like this in the industry. So we're very fortunate. So we have courses, we have books, there's places to go to for more information and spring of information. How about some of the other resources? I know you mentioned the Dien Chan .tv. Of course, you're all welcome to see how I put these practical things into motion as well on my Reflex Appeal YouTube as well.
Hmm.
There's some other places, I know we're doing this in English, and so we're
Yes.
going to be launching the blog
Oh,
soon.
soon, yes, because we had some problems. Before, everything was in Google Plus, and it closed. So now we have to tidy and reopen the blog in English. This is soon, and also if some people in a northern country in Europe are interested in courses in English, and if you think my English is understandable, do not hesitate to contact me because. Many people are buying and asking questions from Germany, Holland, Norway, Denmark, England, obviously, Ireland also. So I know many northern countries can speak English, and so it would be a pleasure to go and visit your beautiful northern country. Mm.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I know I've been getting from Romania and from Greece,
Mhm.
and so it's really quite phenomenal. And I'm just so excited to be on this journey with you and to share
I'm
this journey with
delighted.
you. And great to spend some time with you. And I know this won't be the last time.
No,
So,
so we all hope that this pandemic it's over soon and we can start traveling again because I was used to come to Canada once a year and now what happened? I stay stuck here in between France and Spain, and so it's time to
yes.
cross the Atlantic.
Well, this goes both ways, you know that, right? Because coming over to Spain and
Fortunately, you
spending
came
those
in
weeks
last
with
August.
you.
Well, the
Yes,
last August,
exactly. Yeah.
in 2019, fortunately.
And to meet some of the other teachers
Yes.
and to get to know them.
Mm.
So that was really cool.
Hmm. Okay, so do not hesitate to put
Okay.
some questions in the comments, and like this will be very happy to answer you. You can contact us. We will put in the description everything you need to know, all the links to everything we've been talking about, and
Make sure you subscribe.
make
You
sure to
subscribe.
subscribe because I tell you, we don't like to send too many newsletters. It's very annoying, and it's nice, and also because they have a lot of content, so it's always important to have time to read them and study. Okay, Erika, thank you.
Okay.
It's
Yes.
late
Without
now
further
here,
ado.
and
Yeah.
so I hope we do those meeting again, and also depending on the questions, we'll be very happy to answer.
Yes.
Okay,
Okay. Have a great
bye
evening.
bye. Thank you. Bye bye.